Power to the truth. We're here at Philosopher's Corner. Here we are with Gallo. And so he's just going to share today. Sharing is caring. Go ahead.
Good morning, campers. How is your day? Mine is, as I explained to Pete, sometimes I have so much energy, I feel like jumping out of my skin and just being totally free. I was relating to him about watching a couple of Alan Watts videos on YouTube, and he talked about what philosophy is, and I guess I have been doing this most of my life, and I didn't even realize it. He said, a real philosopher is always in wonder about things. He's in awe. It's like, why does this happen? Why does that happen? Wow, that's amazing. You know, statements that imply an adventurous spirit. Always curious, always want to find out. And I've been like that pretty much my whole life. I've gotten in trouble for it, you know. So what? Whatever people think is trouble, I just think is living my life, I guess. And he talked about part of, also about Carl Jung and some of the stuff he did. He had a deep respect for him. And I think the reverse was true also. But he talked about how we're constantly fighting things, I guess you could say, at least in our own minds. And he and Jung both pretty much agreed on the fact that we have to accept our dark side and work with it instead of trying to just push it away and saying, well, you know, I'm just going to go say prayers or do this or do that as if it's going to go away. It never really goes away, but he compared it to I think it was a magnet. He said that, listen, there's a positive and negative side and they coexist. The balance is in the middle. So, as much as I got on my own case when I was younger and labeled what I did as mistakes, I came to realize that I had to get to know my darker self in order to be able to balance it with my light, whatever I have to offer to people. And I, like anybody else, I would think, has my moments when I get too meticulous and too crotchety and irritated, and whatever it is. But I learned that that's just part of me. It's not like the whole me. All of these things, with all the reading I've done and so many topics and areas, I realized that if I didn't get to know my more negative self, how could I work with it to bring it into balance with my positive self? For instance, I used to play drums, okay? I had a natural ability, first of all, physically, to do sports and all that, but my real love has always been music because it just kind of excites my soul. And what I learned was that since, as Tesla said, everything's about, energy's about vibration and frequency, I just knew how to lighten up with music. But when I played drums, it was all kind of like the foundation of the couple of bands I was in. But I practiced relentlessly. I learned stuff so fast. I took like 3 lessons, and it was from Joe Morello's assistant. Joe Morello played with Dave Brubeck in a song camp called Take 5, which was hard for me to get in the beginning because it's 4/5 timing, or 5/4 timing. Anyway, the thing I didn't know about drumming was it's all mathematical. Even though I had, when I was a I didn't relate the two because I didn't think of it that way. Music was appealing to me. And if you're playing with other people, it's an interchange of feelings and, you know, dancing around it and playing with it and having some fun. So the feeling thing, I didn't interpret in myself as such until I got into recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. The same thing was with weightlifting, powerlifting. That was about focus, determination, persistence. Not that drumming wasn't about focus either, but it was kind of a different regimen. It was more disciplined to the point where I was lifting extremely heavy weights. But what I found out about that was, whereas music freed my soul, too much concentration on weightlifting revealed that I was in a mental prison because of the abuse my father put on me. And I was always fighting it back in my head, right? So what do? You build up the outer shell. And I wasn't thinking earlier on that it had everything to do with my inner self, not my outer self. I could walk around and make people afraid of me and, you know, look really impressive and kind of like frightening almost, especially if I put my death wish on my face. But that, I realized that wasn't me inside. It wasn't me at all. I wasn't like that when I was a kid. So now there was a lot of other experiences that brought out qualities in me that I didn't know or didn't realize that I had, to the point where I ended up just helping people out. It could have been instructionally or having to do with addictions or music or, you know, sports or whatever it was. I mean, I just naturally adapt to things fairly quickly. My whole point is, for this world to heal itself, it looks to me like we've got to recognize polar opposites and start forgiving ourselves and others and resolving our past, like I've said many times, and just move on. I don't know if, it seems like Trump's taking a left turn somewhere, and I'm not so sure about him, just like Pete and I spoke about. But the thing is, we have to realize that all of these opposites have to be reunited somehow. They have to come back into balance. And I don't think that's going to be done any other way than for people to sit down and talk to each other and try to understand each other. But first we have to understand ourselves. It's not something that will happen in 24 hours. It's a process. But I think, I'm pretty sure we're all still capable of that kind of thing. It's just kind of the gist of, especially being tweaked on drugs, but also mildly drunk, is that we react rather than listen and then respond. We have to come back to listening and then responding so that we're not flying all over the damn place with all our reactions. And, you know, I hate this, I hate that. And the continuous complaining is we're helping ourselves dig our own holes deeper. We're not patching anything up. We've got to get out of this shit. I don't care if it's racism or gender or religion, it doesn't matter. Us balancing ourselves out is the key to the whole thing. But of course, those in power don't want that because they can't identify with balance at all. I don't even think they're capable of it. It's up to us, not to them. And I mean, there was a video on YouTube called "The Choice Is Ours," and it is. We got 99%, and I got probably less than 1% of all the maniacal thinking, the psychotic perversions that they try to put over everybody else's. You got to be politically correct. This is the law. Blah blah blah. Well, hate to tell you this, but they aren't us. But they've been trying to make us like them so they can claim themselves. So they'd be clamping down on themselves. Okay, so say the whole thing happens. What's going to happen next? Are they going to start going after each other? God, probably half of them would kill their own grandmother if they got the chance, just to gain some kind of material thing. What a bunch of bullshit. Seriously. Really? That's where you want to go? You've been going? Where you came from? And guess what? That's all based on unresolved past issues. So, my friends, I think that we really have to reflect on where we want this world to go, because if we don't do something about it, this whole world could disappear, and us with it, on a material plan anyway. Or we can try to change. So, like I said, the choice is ours. And at this point, actually, we have no other choice. If we don't do something like right now, guess what? The clock will run out, be the end of the world, and hasta la vista, baby. Thanks.
Thank you, Brother Mike. Guile. Yep, we're in the fix. We're in the fix. I think balance is the key.
Oh, and keep a sense of humor.
Yeah, and a sense of humor. As we face the guillotine. Okay, we'll close it up there. Thank you.